flowers of Maharashtra, and these plants you can find even in the other place or even in the other states. So today we will appreciate the beauty of this flower. We'll try to understand them. We'll try to connect with them. The reason we have selected this topic because this is a season where many plants showcase their beauty. See, monsoon is all about greenery, and summer is mostly about a red thing. And in India, summer season is considered from May to March or till early June. So in this talk, we will discuss about the plants which are in flowering between March to June. So in summer, as you can see in a slide, forest paint. In summer, forest is painted in red and yellow in patches. It feels like they're competing with each other to showcase their beauty. So as I told you, we will discuss about plants which are flowering between March to June. First, let's start with a March. And March is a time for a Holi. Holi kab hai? Kab hai Holi? I answer to this iconic question in olden day was, देखो भैया जब पलाश को फूल लगेंगे तब है होली. In ancient days, there were no calendars. So blooming of a palash was an indicator that Holi is in round a corner. And in villages, kids waited for this flower as this were a source of holy color. And one doesn't have to put an effort to extract a color from it. You just need to pour water, and plant flowers give you all the color you want. I'll just play this video, and you can see how easy it is to extract a. You take a flower, pour a water, and there you get a color. Within a minute. And as time goes, as a flower gets soaked in a water, you get more darker and darker color. So palash flowers are good for a skin, and they are a remedy for different kind of skin disease, which make them an ideal color for a Holi. Since ages, palash is a synonym of Holi. Earlier days, this were a color like palash, turmeric, which nourishes our skin. Unlike nowadays colors, which are completely opposite. Coming to palash flower, palash flower is also known as pinsugar, which means a parrot beak. Some people feel that a flower resemble a parrot beak. Flower is also known as a flame of the forest. By looking at this picture, you can get that, because when it's in flowering, it drops all its leaf to showcase its flower. So if you see it from a distance, it does look like there is a flame in a forest. Such a fiery orangish color it has. Palash Sharbat. Tribal area of Maharashtra and Chhattisgarh have this tradition of drinking Palash Sharbat as a coolant. It has a nutrition as well as healing quality. And to make a Palash Sharbat, you just have to soak a flower in a water. Just like we have seen in a previous video, you just need to soak a flower in a water, and you get a solution like this. As Palash flower don't have much taste, people add soft and jaggery to make it more flavorful. Palash Sharbat recipe is something which is available on YouTube. So in India we had a tradition of these indigenous coolants like Palash Sharbat, Jaljeera, Kokum, Mint, Karvand. So all these indigenous coolants were replaced by Coke and soda, which is harmful for our body. So this summer, try this indigenous coolant. I have named very few. There are many, actually, which helps you to keep your body cool, and which has healing as well as nutrition quality. So the Palash plant, Butea, is also, it has also another variety. Like this is what we saw earlier was a Butea monosperma. This is Butea monosperma variety Lutea. So this is commonly known as yellow flame of the forest. In this, the flowers are in yellow color. So leaf, Palash leaves. There is a saying in Marathi called Palshala Panat Teenats. So Palash leaves, you might have seen Palash leaves are used for making plates, and also used for making a bowl like this. After plastic ban, people are going back to leaves. This leaves plates are really good because they are biodegradable. They take around 30 days or month to get degraded, whereas plastic and styrofoam thermocol plates, which take 1,000 to 500 years to degrade. You just imagine we use a plate for a few minutes and it takes a year for them to degrade. And up till Palash leaf plates or a bowl is also was used to test a skill, for wedding. Nowadays for wedding, if a boy or girl want, uh, wants to get married, they check education qualification or other things. But in earlier days, would-be son-in-law was tested using a Palash leaf. Earlier skills were checked. So would-be son-in-law was asked to make Palash plate and a Palash bowl, and dal or a gravy-like substance was poured in a bowl to check its perfection. So if a bowl is perfect, a dal won't leak. If it's and the groom, the groom would be selected. So that's how the Palash leaf was used. So, Kishore sir, am I audible
Yes,
clearly?
yes, yes. Audible. Yeah, you are.
Yes. So this was about a Palash. Next, we'll be talking about Erythrina, is also known as Pangara. In English, it's also known as Indian coral tree or tiger claw. Look like the reason it's known as coral tree because people feel its branching structure is like just like a corals, and we'll know a pollination of this. So let me clear one thing about this picture. This is a picture of swallowtail hummingbirds, and hummingbirds are not found in India. But I've selected this picture and next one because they explain a pollination perfectly. See, a flower and a pollinator are just like a partners. Some flower structures are designed for a specific pollinator. You can see here, these are Pangara flowers. Pangara flowers are pointed in shape. So a bird with a pointed beak can peek into it and it can use its beak just like a straw to take a nectar. So while doing so, a pollen grains get dusted on its head or under the beak. So this how a lock and key mechanism works. We can see in another case where a bird with a small or blunt beak wants to have a nectar, and he or she knows that he can't, peek through a main entrance. It's not possible for this bird to reach till end if it tries to get in from a main entrance. So this bird takes a shortcut by making a hole where a nectar is stored. What this bird is doing is called nectar robbering or nectar stealing. Why? Because the bird is not helping a plant in a pollination. Plants are not in a nature to give free nectar. Nectar is a reward for doing a pollination. Nectar is a reward for carrying a pollen. So after taking a nectar, animals are expected to provide a service of pollination. If you don't give a service of pollination, you're considered as a nectar robber. So not only birds, but the many bees, wasps, ants, they also found to do this kind of nectar stealing. So to deal with this kind of nectar stealing, even birds have evolved. They have started making their sepal more sepal and petal more stronger so that animals can't chew them. Some plants know that मेरा pollinator सुबह 7 बजे आता है, so they make a concentrated nectar at that time. So, and there are many ways in which plant have evolved to protect themselves from this kind of nectar robber, and at the same time, even animal have evolved to break a barrier of a plant. So it's like if you are smart, then I'm over smart. If you are over smart, then I'll try to outsmart you. So this was about Erythrina flower. Coming to its leaf, leaves are used to make a vada. Saurashtrian of Mathurai make a vada out of Erythrina leaves. These Saurashtrians are of Gujarat are migrated to Mathurai after the fall of Somnath temple. Why they make a vada out of Erythrina leaf. The Saurashtrians are known for making a silk garments. So while working with a silk, there are chances that a fine dust or a fine fabric can get into your lungs and can cause a respiratory problem. That's why leaves of Pangara are added to a snacks, and it's believed that this leaf has a medicinal value. It can treat a respiratory issues. Next, we'll be talking about kate sour. Uh, so, so first, let's understand a kate. Botanically, there are three things: prickles, spines, and thorns. People give a same name to us. People usually say all are spines or a thorn, but botanical there are different things. For example, prickles are present on a epidermis, like on a outer layer, so they are easy to remove. The best example of it is a rose. You might have removed a rose prickles, you know. So they're present on outer layer and they're easy to remove. Second are spines. Spines are modified leaves. They're a bit difficult to remove. And third are thorns. They are modified stems which are deeply embedded and are not possible to remove by hand. So kate sour has a prickle and people remove it. It's easy to remove it and people remove it and they rub this on a stone just like one would rub a sandalwood. They rub this prickle on a stone, and this paste is applied, uh, on pimple or acne. I believe it cures a pimple or acne. Some also eat this prickle as a supari. Coming to a flower, Semal, Bombax seabar, it's an ecologically important tree. It provides nectar to many birds. Just like, if you just look a shape of a flower, it's just like a shape. If you look, the shape of flower is just like a bowl, and it's filled with a nectar. So people call this as a bird magnet, as many birds visit this flower to take a nectar. Some birds visit this plant to take a nectar, and some visit this to attack an insects which are taking a nectar. So during flowering season, if you just sit opposite to this plant, you'll get a good checklist of a bird species. And tribal women, collect a fallen bird. So this is a flower, one which has not bloomed. So, and they have to collect a fallen bird because it's not possible or not easy to climb a plant which is surrounded by so many prickles. So, this bird, naturally falls off. For there can be a various reason, if plant fail to provide a water, nutrition, or due to harsh sunlight. It's pretty common that sometimes a plant abort flower birds. So these aborted flower birds are collected by tribal women, and they make a sabji out of it. So they take a sepal, the green part, they cut this green part, they sun dry them, and they make a sabji out of it. And this is a quite popular dish. And there are YouTube recipes available on net, and they're really good because these are something. If you ever get to chance to eat this wildflower, don't miss it because these are something which are foraged from a forest. They are not something which are cultivated. The one which have been not used pesticides. Coming to its capsule, it's a red silk cotton tree. The plant Bombax. It's also known as red silk cotton tree because the mature fruit pod. This is a mature fruit pod of this plant, and you can see it produce a white fiber. It's like a cotton, and seed is present in between this cotton. And this cotton is, a kind of delicate. You can't wool a cloth out of this cotton, but you can use this cotton as stuffing material for making pillows, cushion, or you can for packaging things. So next we'll be talking about Kusum. So Kusum in Sanskrit means flower. This tree is called Kusum because of its new leaves or young leaves, young red leaves. And these leaves look like a flower. This plant is named Kusum because of its leaf. And when you see this in a while, you will fall in love with this plant. Plant leaves are more beautiful than a flower. It's one of the tree which paints forest in the season with its red color. And it has a tiny whitish green flowers, which are hardly noticeable. If you see this plant, and if it's difficult to notice a flower because they're very tiny and they're of whitish green color. So how they attract a pollinator? So how they attract a pollinator? You see, flowers are much wiser than we think. Flower bloom at the same time when flowers bloom at the same time when new bright leaves sprout. Right below these red leaves. So this is their hack to attract a pollinator. So pollinators get attracted by seeing a red colors of this leaf. Kusum tree is also known as Makassar oil tree because Makassar oil was used, earlier Makassar oil was used by European men as a hair conditioner to groom or style their hair. Just like nowadays how men use a gel to groom themselves, at that time Makassar oil was used. So at that time, barbers used to make their own hair oil. At the barbers used to make a formula of hair oil. So one of the barbers has made this Makassar oil using kusum, coconut oil and palm oil, and he marketed it aggressively. He marketed it and made exaggerated claims regarding this oil, which made this oil very popular. But there was this one problem with this oil. This oil was too greasy. So wherever, this men used to sit or rest, they would leave a oil mark or a greasy mark. Wherever they used to sit, they used to leave a oily, greasy mark. So this lead to the invention of anti-massacre. It's a small cloth which is placed behind this armchair kind of thing. Because it's difficult to clean entire sofa, so that's why a small removable, washable anti-massacre cloth was placed to prevent oil marks, greasy oil marks. Next, we'll be talking about neem. In most of the plants, if you see, flowers are the one which are most noticed or appreciated. But in case of neem, due to dominance of its neem twig, which we use as a datun, or neem leaves, which has an insecticidal property, somewhere flower got aligned, flower got suppressed, and flower has many uses also. And neem tree is known as village pharmacy because every part of the tree is useful, from bark to flower. It can be used for various medicinal uses. Flowers, neem flowers are edible and can be used for cooking. A number of dishes can be made from a neem flowers, right? A curry, chutney, rasam, and just like it's a neem flower, so it's bitter in a taste. So whenever you use it a small quantity. And these flowers are used, fresh flowers are used, and sometimes flowers are sun dried and preserved, and sometimes people make a powder of it and use it for later use. Or people dry roast it. If you can see this flowers there, people dry roast it and use it, sprinkle it on top of their dish to garnish their dishes. And flowers are also used in aromatherapy because it has a calming effect. So this was about a neem flower. Coming to a mawa, it is a season of a mawa. Mawa flower is in flowering in March. And for many tribals across India, mawa is not just a tree; it's like more than a tree. It's their food, culture, religion, their mythology, the many stories associated with mawa. For many tribes, mawa is it's like a god. And when they decide to clear a forest, for farming, all trees are cut except mawa because they can't imagine touching a mawa with an axe because it's too precious. And there is a tribal saying, heaven is where there is a mawa tree, and hell is where there is no mawa tree. So that much importance this plant has uh, for a tribe. So we'll understand flower morphology first. For example, this what brown color thing is a calyx, and this one, the white, yellowish white, are petals of a mawa. A fused petal, and the one which is peeping out is a female. It's a female style, and the male part are inside the. So after pollination, all parts of the plant except a flower, all parts of the plant falls off. This female plant remain attached to the or this female part turns into a fruit. These all other parts fall off because their job is done. There's no point in carrying a weight of them. So this fused petal, when flower plant drops this fused petal, these are collected. These are precious. People, they're so precious that people sit under a tree to guard them. If it's because a cattle may eat them or other animals may eat them, and there is a race to collect this flower. So when this number flowers falls off, they falls off on a dry leaves, and it's difficult to spot them. The completely dry leaves are, you might have seen dry leaves are in shade of yellow or a brown, and when this color flowers falls on them, it's difficult to spot them. So what people do, they burn an area below a mawa. They burn all the dry leaves below mawa tree so that flowers are easy to spot, and flowers don't get affected by a fire. It's easy to talk about summer flower sitting across a screen, but it's a difficult. It's very difficult when you are dependent upon a summer flower. The tribals collect in the season between March to April. From morning to evening, they are in a forest collecting this flower in a hot summer. So that's why some tribe have this tradition of drinking this page. Page is a fermented rice drink, and so during flower collection season, they make a big can of this page and carry with themselves. So you collect flowers, and in between you hydrate yourself with this page, and this page keeps your body cool. And this is another example of indigenous drink. And it keeps, and by drinking this, you get an energy and you to collect flowers till evening. The one who don't drink it, they can't withstand high sunlight for a long period of time. And once mawa flowers are collected, they are sun dried and stored. And in some tribes, this is usually some of these mawa flowers are collected during summer, and they are sun dried and stored for a rainy days or for a monsoon. So in some tribes, you can't start eating a mawa. There is a specific time when you can start eating it. Just because you have collected it, you can't start eating it. They have some ritual like of Thanksgiving to their deity, thanks uh, ritual to thanks nature or a plant. After a festival, they can start eating it. That's a nutrition cycle uh, is regulated in them. Because if people start eating in haphazard way, they will run short of their food, and food cycle is very delicate in a forest. Life in a forest, it's peaceful but not that easy. And Adivasi don't advise eating a raw mova. You can't eat this. You need to sun dry, because you can't eat this raw mava because it has a high amount of sugar. If you eat too much of these mova flowers, say even if you eat a handful of them, this high amount of sugar can react with your body and you may throw up. So you need to process this mova before you start eating it. So how you process it? You sun dry it, and afterwards you roast it or you boil it. You boil it for 8 to 10 hours. When you do so, it becomes digestible. Sugars in this are something which becomes digestible. So these are many dishes prepared from. Mawa is a food to them, and there are many dishes they make out of mawa. When I say mawa, people only think of a drink, but it's not only a drink, but it's a food. So from mawa laddu to kheer to roti, many dishes they are made out of a mawa. Even not only humans, I told, even other animals love amawa. Even bear love to consume amawa flower and gets high. So sometimes there is human-animal conflict. So to avoid human-animal conflict, forest department advise people to venture in. You should go to the forest in a group, and it should make some kind of noise so that bear gets alert and avoid humans. Next is Amaltas. It makes a good avenue tree, and this is a price collection. If you have this in your garden, it will be a price collection. And many gardens, in flowering season, it's like a selfie point. It's a state flower of Kerala, and this flower has many ritual importance during Vishu festival of Kerala. And this is a single flower of it. And most of these Cassia species, the scientific name is Cassia fistula. Most of these Cassia species has two types of stamen. A top one is a short and infertile stamen, and below one is a long and fertile stamen. So can you think of a reason why this plant has two types of stamen? And on top of it, why to have a stamen which is infertile? Fertile we can understand, it's used for a pollination. What could be a reason for having an infertile stamen? The reason is the infertile stamen is used as a food for a pollinator. So some flowers provide nectar as a pollinator, and some provide pollen as a pollinator. So this can be used for a bee as a reward for a bee for doing the pollination. Again, acacia flower is edible, and people make a chutney out of it. For any flower, if you're there are many flowers which are edible, but general rule, if you're eating a flower, general rule of it, you don't you remove a male and female plant. You remove a reproductive plant, whether it's acacia or whether it's a hibiscus. You remove this male and female or reproductive part because they add a bitterness to the dish. So you remove it, and if you're using a flower for a food, make sure it's of your own garden. Next is Karvand. Most of the flower we have seen so far, add color to the forest. But Karvand is something which disperses a fragrance throughout the forest. and it has a soothing and calming fragrance. It has it's fragrance of wildflower, which can't be described in a words. And it's something which is, for this fragrance, it's worth visiting worlds for this fragrance. And these are the fruits of a Karwan. So these are ripened fruits, and this one is a raw fruit. So raw fruit is of green color. You might have seen in many fruits, the raw ones are always in green color, and ripened ones are colorful. The raw ones are in green color because plant wants to hide fruit from us because seed in them is immature. In ripened one, the seed is mature and ready to germinate. You might have seen in mango, the seed in a raw mango is really tender, whereas in ripened mango or Alfonso mango, it's hard, and it's something which is ready to germinate. So plant have this green color to protect a fruit from immature consumption. And but you can see, you can easily see this. Even if plant is trying to hide this fruit, but you can easily see it. So even plant know that it's not a foolproof method. Birds and humans can easily. So so even plants know that it's not a foolproof method. Uh, Animals can easily spot them. So they have a second layer of a protection. When fruit is raw, it has certain substance like tannins and alkaloids, which give a bitterness to a fruit. The tannins have something which dries your mouth. In case of Karvand, if you have seen, raw Karvand fruit has a latex, which prevent you from eating it. And as seed develops and as fruit continues to grow, these tannins are replaced with things like water, sugar, sweetness, minerals, vitamins. So fruits became more contrast color, something which easily visible. They even emit fragrance to attract animals and birds. This was about Karvan. Next, we have Gulmohar. You might have seen Gulmohar flowers, and you might have wondered, why this Gulmohar have a 4 red petal and 1 odd petal. What problem it will have if all the petals are red in color? What problem flower can have if all the petals are red color? So imagine yourself as a pollinator, a bee, for example, uh, sitting in a center, bee sitting in the center of a flower. If all the petals, are green, red in color, and nectar is stored below one of these petals. So in order to get a nectar, a pollinator has to peek below every petal. It's time consuming. Pollinator may get irritated. So, and the chances of pollinator visiting this flower next time will be less because it's time consuming. So to make pollinator job easy, the flower has this 1 odd petal and nectar is stored right below it, and you can see the androecium and gynoecium, it's just curved, almost curved, opposite to it. So when pollinator is taking a nectar, they can dust a pollen or receive a pollen if it's bringing any. So these 4 red petals are like an advertisement board. Like, "Idhar aao, idhar aao." So when pollinator visit a flower, he'll be like, "Aa to gaya, ab jana kahan hai?" So this all petal indicates ki either. It's also known as nectar guide because it's guiding a pollinator where a nectar is. So this was plant. Many flowers have a marking like this. Is an odd petals like this. Sometimes a marking. So next time try to read flowers. So Gulmohar is also known as May flower because it's bloom during that month. In Satara, Satara is a city in Maharashtra which celebrates on 1st May of every year. They celebrate Gulmohar Day. So there is a place in Satara where there are many Gulmohar trees, and people sit under shade of Gulmohar. They write poems, stories. They do a painting of a Gulmohar. There is exhibit of a Gulmohar photo. The motto of this festival is to appreciate Gulmohar flowering, and the people of Satara are celebrating this festival for since last 20 years. And it said it's probably the first uh, kind of celebration regarding this plant in our country. So last we'll be talking about Copperpod. By looking a picture of this, looking at this fruit, you might have understood why it's known as Copperpod, because the fruit has this coppery color, and during fruiting season, entire canopy of this plant is full with this. And this photo can't justify a beauty of this fruit, because in hot summer, this pods literally shine. They look like as if a copper hanging on a plant. This plant is also known as Son Mohar, just a golden shower. Uh, Even during flowering, also entire canopy is full with this yellow flowers, and the petals are just like a crumpled tissue. And they lay a carpet. They lay wherever they're flowering, they lay a carpet of this flower. So this was a presentation on summer flowers. I hope you liked it, and many photographers which have been taken for this are a copyrighted one. Photographers have been used only for an education purpose. Well, stop my screen.
Okay. Thank you, Kiran madam, for giving us the knowledgeful session to our participants. Now the session is open for question and answer. So I would like to request to all participants, please, chat box is open, so you can type your question in the chat box. So our expert will give answer accordingly. So kindly I request you to type your question in chat box.
Jyoti ji is asking which are the other yellow flowers in summer. The one which I told you, Butea monosperma lutea, that's a yellow flower. Son mower is a yellow flower. Some of the acacia species are the yellow flower. There's many herbaceous plant known as Blumia. That is a plant which is one which is in yellow color. Moising is asking, why do plant avoid self-pollination? They avoid self-pollination because because if you do a cross-pollination, there are more chance of a flower being more healthy. Same to avoid a repetition of a gene. Thank you, Swedel ma'am, for your compliment. Kindly give me some time. There is, I'll slowly take a question because there is a rush of come. So there are some people who there are many plants which are edible. So even some do eat Gulmohar. So I've not tried it, but there are some who eat Gulmohar. You can search it on net if there are recipes available. Neha is asking how many total. Total is difficult to say how many which are there from March to May, but there are many. Yeah, rose Tebebuya is also seen during this season. State flower of Maharashtra is Lagistomia, or Prasanna is asking for a state flower of Maharashtra and a state plant of Maharashtra. State flower is Taman, which is Lagistomia, and state plant is a mango, Mangifera indica. Samita is asking, is there any website for edible flowers? Ma'am, I don't know about a website, but you can search for an individual flowers. For example, if there is a hibiscus around you, then you can search whether hibiscus is an edible. There is a Gulmohar in around you can search whether Gulmohar is an edible. What are the types of dishes can be prepared from Gulmohar? I don't know which types of dishes are prepared from the Gulmohar. Why? Sachin is asking why Palash is called flame of the forest because of its orangish flower, and when they flower, all the leaves fall off. So you can only see the flowers. And if you see these flowers from a distance, they do feel like there is a flame in a forest. So Samaksh is asking what is the function of short infertile stamen in Acacia fistula. It acts as a food for, so there are two types I have told you, stamen, fertile and infertile. Fertile one are for pollination and infertile one are as a source of food for an insects. So Manusmita is asking how flowers survive with heat and temperature of the atmosphere, and why this a specific season at a specific temperature. They're different flower. They need a certain, the high temperature kind of signals this plant to flower. So you might have seen the same plant will flower at a different plant, different timing. For example, if there is a plant palash, palash which is there in a Badlapur will is flowering at a different time as compared to the palash which is there in a Goregaon. So it also related to temperature. They need a high temperature. Even in case of Mahua, the plant which get a good sunlight, high amount of temperature, it's kind of signal them to do a flowering, and the flower has this waxy coating which help them to prevent a loss of moisture. So Dipti is asking, some Katesavar trees don't have prickle. So the prickles, in most cases, prickles are present when the on trunk when the plant is young. When you might have seen even in the presentation, the thickness of the trunk was really small. So they have prickle when plant is really young. So when a plant mature, the prickles are basically for the self defense so that no one can attack it. So as trunk increase in size, as it increase in size, they don't need a prickle for a protection. They're self-sufficient. No one can attack them. So that's why in a mature one, the prickles fall off. In a younger one, they will see a more prickle and a prominent prickle. But as plant grow, the trunk is increased. At lower surface, there won't be any prickles. Yes, Pallavi is saying Palash name is originated from Agni, and it's used for worship of Lord Shiva, right? Yes, Palash, someone saying Palash is not native. Yes, Palash is not native to India. I've selected Palash because this is a season and it's a common avenue tree in Mumbai, in Maharashtra also, other cities of Maharashtra. Gulmohar, Copperpod are common avenue. The flowers seen in Bombay region, generally in which flowers seen in Bombay, generally in which region of India it's from? It's Western Ghat or a forest of Mumbai, like national park. You can find these flowers, and Palash and Erythrina is something you could find this across India, even in Odisha or other states. Forest also you can find this. So if you have any doubts, you can type it in.
I think Kiran ma'am,
Yes.
there is no question.
Yes.
So now we are at the end of the session.
Yes.
So again, thank you from BNHS Envis and CES Envis Center of Odisha uh, for this wonderful session. And also, I would like to thanks for the all participants for patiently listening the session. So I have already shared the email ID and website link where you will get a lot of information related to avian ecology. And uh, on behalf of BNHS Envis, uh, uh, again, uh, thanks to all participants for listening the session. And in our team member, we have the Karan Dabolkar, Miss Gargi, and Mr. Suraj Gosavi. We are all the Envis team member, those who are playing important role for organizing such type of webinars. We are not organizing webinar on flower, but also like conducting the session on flora, other fauna like birds, then mammals, then reptiles. So you will be in touch with us through our email ID. So in future, whatever webinar which we plan, we will share with you through the Google group. So thank you again. Now I will close the session. Thank you very much.